Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and I'm sat in the studio with the door open on today of all days.
What? It's like, well, I don't know about where you are, but in London it's snowing.
Is it snowing today?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
crappy London snow.
Oh.
Yeah, it's snowing. We were supposed to do this about 10 minutes ago, and the most always terrible timing. Some fella knocked on my door asking if he could bring some fence panels through my yard to a neighbour's garden. So I just helped him carry fence posts through. Had to put my gloves on, but I've been out in the snow, Johnny, with just an orange t-shirt on and a pair of jeans where the zip keeps coming down. The zip won't stay up.
What?
So I kept looking down at my trousers and the zip was coming undone, so I had to keep zipping up as I was trotting around the corner getting these fence posts. Oh dear. Anyway, beer, Johnny. It's a beer podcast.
You haven't even asked why I'm sat with the door open, but it's fine. You know, I just
why
had this whole spiel planned, and you've derailed it literally with railings.
Why have you got your bloody door open? It's freezing.
This does not feel organic anymore. It's because I'm at home alone today. Sorry, I mean that's literally not true. I have my daughter with me, and the signal to the studio only works. Of her baby monitor, she's having a nap, only works if the door is open.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're literally on the cusp of the signal of the... Never buy a BT baby monitor, people.
Never buy a BT.
I'm being an influencer here. Never buy one.
Yeah. Influencer.
Yeah. So it's 3 degrees in here. I've got my big coat on and a big hat. And actually, it's feeling quite festive. It's the 1st of December, Bradley.
I know. Happy December, miss.
I forgot to get anybody an advent calendar. Have you got one?
I don't really do advent calendars, Johnny. But do you know what? I think I just got a notification that our gifts arrived at your house. No,
they did. Literally, I was just putting my daughter down for a nap, and the doorbell rang, which is every parent's worst nightmare. But
first parcel, first gifts of the season, maybe.
Yeah. So the Patreon gifts have arrived. The cards arrived a couple of days ago. So we're all set to send out our Patreon gifts, which leads me to our first announcement, which is the gifts are going out. So please make sure if you're a Patreon that your address is up to date.
Yes.
Because we had, I would say 10 or 15 returns, most of which were from overseas last year because people have moved house and not updated it. So check if you've moved since last year. Hopefully you've updated your address and we won't get the returns. And you'll want these. They're these gifts.
Fun. Your laptops and your pub toilet.
Yeah, your local pub toilet. Yeah. 2 other quick announcements to make before we dig into the podcast. The first one is that next Friday we're having a little Christmas party.
Yeah,
and you're all invited.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice, Johnny. Am I invited too?
Yeah. Well, you're hosting, mate, because I'm going to be a little bit late, so it's mostly you.
Oh wow. What? Hang on. How late are you going to be? I'm getting a bit worried.
I'll be late for the setup, not late for the actual party.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, so finally we are going to be able to taste our Omnipollo collab. It has arrived in the UK a little while ago, and we've been trying to sort out when we can launch it. But we're going to be launching it at the Beer Merchants Tap in Hackney Wick next Friday. That's the 8th?
8th, I believe, yeah.
8th of December from about 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So we'll have Brad's breakfast, which is goodness me, what was it? It was a coffee, vanilla, cinnamon and coconut pastry stout.
Yeah, beautiful.
The coconut was not in the original homebrew, but Henoch insisted. So we'll be launching that. There'll be lots of other delicious pastry stouts in the fridges. We'll do some bottle shares. We'll be selling merchandise. There'll be lots of other amazing beer on because it's Hackney Wick. Maybe we'll lay on some donuts. I don't know, something to make it feel fair. Well, not donuts, mince pies probably. Why would we do donuts at Christmas?
Yeah, donuts, maybe not.
So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Totally open invite. No need to pay or anything. Just turn up. We'll try that delicious beer. You'll have a chat with me and Brad. We'll sell you some merch. Hard. And then we'll all go home and not sleep because of the coffee beer.
I think they have to pay for the beers though, right, Johnny?
Sorry, we're not shouting the beer. That would be
an evening out.
A terrible business decision.
We've already had quite a poor financial year. We don't need to drink it away.
Wow.
A bit of piss up in a brewery type situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun, and it's like we're not trying to tax you for anything. It's just a get together.
It's a get together. It's a Patreon get together, but you don't even need to be a Patreon. But you will be by the time you leave.
Exactly. Hopefully.
So yeah, we've got that on the 8th, and then the following week.
Yeah.
The 16th, the Saturday, we're hosting our annual Christmas live show. So this is on YouTube. It's 2 hours of absolute nonsense in which Brad and I match beer and festive snacks. We taste a certain selection of delicious beers. We spring some surprises on you, maybe some games. And hopefully you will buy the Taste Along box, which goes on sale today. Hopefully I get the link in time to put it in the description of this podcast, but it will be on sale today. It's a fantastic box. It's got loads of amazing classic Christmas beers, including Stille Nacht, people. We've got the Dollar Stille Nacht secured and in these boxes. The greatest Christmas beer, an absolute rarity outside of Belgium. In fact, in Belgium. So we're very lucky in that regard. So it's going to be a stellar box, and it also comes with 2 Augustina Hellers for Brad. Well, and the rest of you, but mostly for Brad.
A very Merry Christmas it's going to be.
Exactly. So we'll probably start with that drink. It won't be part of the taste along, but you need good lager at Christmas.
You do.
You
bloody do.
You do. So it's 8 Christmas beers and 2 Augustina bottles. So that hopefully has a link in the descriptions box. If not, it'll be all over the Patreon forum and our socials this weekend. So watch out for that, and the link will go live for the actual live show in the coming days as well. This week's been a big week in beer, Bradley. Well,
it has for you.
British beer, yeah. It's been the British Guild of Beer Writers Awards, which I hosted, and my voice is just about back. I've got
hostess with the mostess.
Yeah, I was.
We were going to record this yesterday, not to break the illusion.
Sometimes we do it on a Thursday, folk. Sorry.
Sometimes we do it on a Thursday. Sorry about that. But yeah, you'd lost your voice.
Yeah, I had no voice.
So, and you did say you had to recover. Was it a heavy night then?
No, I mean, so because I was hosting, I didn't drink all that much, but I didn't get home until I got into bed after 2, and then obviously I get up at 6 every morning, so there wasn't a lot of sleep had, and I found that I had the voice was already fading on the night, and I woke up in the morning and was like, this podcast just can't happen. I sounded like I'd just been kicked in the balls. You know, that kind of...
Did they not give you a microphone, Johnny? No microphone?
Yeah. I mean,
just shouting
at 200 people in a giant warehouse. No, just a lot of talking.
Yeah.
You know?
And I saw I didn't go this year. Normally, not normally, but sometimes I'll go. I'm not really a black tie kind of guy. But
it's not a black tie event.
The venue... Well, it is when I go, Johnny. It is when I go.
You're not a black tie guy, but you're the only one in black tie when you go.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Oh, I like to look like James Bond if I'm going somewhere. But yeah, what was I going to say? It's normally in very salubrious surroundings in a painted hall in Westminster. But this year, you changed the venue, Johnny. I saw
we did.
Go on, tell us about it.
Well, we took the decision that a guild of beer writers should really reflect the beer industry and not be at 1 George Street, which is literally just around the corner from the House of Parliament and has colonial bigwigs staring down at you from portraits. It just didn't quite seem right. So we moved it to the Big Penny, which is on the Blackwall's Beer Mile. Former home of
And
Truman's.
that's what
after
used
they
to
moved.
be the
Yeah.
It used to be the Truman's, whatever it was called.
Yeah, but now it's called the Big Penny. It's a great events venue. So we had it there. We had some amazing beers, some amazing food, some amazing people. David Jesserdarson, who was in our documentary, he won Beer Writer of the Year. Took the mantle from me. That was an honour to pass him the cup. He came up to me 5 minutes later and said, like, because he was obviously shocked and delighted. And he said, in the kerfuffle, he used the word kerfuffle. He lost one of the checks. He lost £1,000 check. Just dropped it.
I would have been like, sorry, David, that's your own fault, mate. See you later.
When I was writing the checks, right, it sort of dawned on me how easy it would be to forge a check, right, in this day and age. Like nobody knows what my signature is. Nobody knows what the checks are. Like, it's bonkers that checks are still valid.
Well, when you give a check in, they keep it. So they have you seen Catch Me If You Can?
Oh yeah,
it's great. That's a good film.
An honest man has nothing to fear. It's a line that I really took on board when I first watched it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's peak Hanks. I think it's pretty good Hanks performance, and Leo's very charming in it. It's before he got a bit old and started dating teenagers, maybe.
Well, I think he was always dating the same age of woman. It's just
He just hasn't progressed.
It's a bit of I see aged. It now that I watched it again, maybe about a year ago or something. It's a bit of a precursor to The Wolf of Wall Street. He hints at that kind of behaviour. He's got that kind of boyish looks that as an actor means you can get away with playing absolute dirtbags.
Roguish. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. So, check fraud is. I imagine it's probably less of a thing these days than it used to be. But
I love this podcast. The fact that we can do a callback and go, so check fraud. Possibly. But it was a wonderful night. Some very, very worthy winners and some very delicious beer. They had vintage ale on cask there. Because it's always been a little bit. The beer list has never been that great, but this year people. Is this
you? Did you organise vintage ale on cask?
No, God no! I can't take any credit for that. I can't really take credit for the event. Like
Garrett move, but yeah, that's cool.
Just vintage or dead. Actually, I did email Asahi, who are one of the sponsors in advance, and say like, how about some Tank Fresh PU? But I'll take vintage ale from Fuller's for sure. And Harvey's were there pouring some delicious stuff, and Seba, Society of Independent Brewers, brought some magic things. It was a good, very, very good night. But anyway, so you should basically, David won it for Desi Pubs and for his Substack, which is a brilliant newsletter, mostly about Desi Pubs, but also about beer in general. So I urge you to follow that. And also, if you go onto the Guild website, beerguild.co.uk, eventually we'll be listing all the winners and some of the work they did. And if you're a lover of beer writing, it'll be well worth clicking those links because there's some absolutely incredible stuff. My favourite, it didn't win gold. There's a wonderful writer. He mostly writes about wine. I've forgotten her surname in the kerfuffle, but Rachel. She wrote 2,500-3,000 words about scampi fries. And it won silver. It was absolutely brilliant and hilarious. And I think I'm going to approach her and say, "Can you do a bacon fries one for Brad?" Yeah.
Well, maybe we could get her on as a guest.
We could
and do like a bar snacks, a love letter to beer snacks. As an episode,
she'd be wonderful at it.
And
I think
get her to
that could happen.
Espouse about it.
That could happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that could definitely happen.
It'll happen in the new year once we start doing uploads again.
We could upload like video. We could even do that as a podcast. We could bring that was a thing, wasn't it? I said we should have a snack at each end while we're doing the podcast, and then eat and talk.
We should.
I suggested that a while ago.
I've still got some of the Tony's Chocolonely.
Have you? I'm down to my last box, mate.
What do you mean the last box? I only took one box.
I had a couple of boxes.
Good Lord.
I just didn't want to see them. I've given away to people and stuff like that, but I've.
Oh, you're regifting. Smart.
My fair share.
That's smart.
Yeah, regifting, of course, mate. It's the season of regifting, isn't it? But yeah, they were great. Tony's amazing stuff. Jason. Sorry, I don't know what I was going to say then.
What do you mean you don't know what you're going to say? Who's Jason?
I don't know. No, don't worry. Shit, what was I going to say? Don't worry. David Jesu Dason.
David Jesse. Oh God, you got me doing it now. David Jesse.
You see what I did there?
Yeah, right. I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to start calling him Jason David.
David Dawson.
David. Jason David.
Yeah.
Famously didn't like our beer when we got him involved.
I thought
in
that
our
might be
beer
where that sentence was going. Yeah, that upset you a bit at the time, didn't it?
Yeah. I think it upset you a bit at the time as well.
Well,
But,
I was in front of
like
camera, so I had to play it cool. I had to be like, "Oh, really? Why?" Whereas you behind the camera could just be like, "Oh, that's unfortunate."
It was unfortunate.
I mean, he doesn't like bitter beer. He has explained this to me. He's just, he loves like old school bitters and milds, and he loves New England IPAs. He likes a hint of bitterness, and ours was for 50 IBU, I think.
Yeah. These days it's pretty bitter.
Yeah, I do. I think batch 2 is a little bit less bitter. Not the original batch that they brewed for our festival, but the version. What am I trying? 2023 edition. I think they brought the bitterness down a little bit, which if they're going to do it every year, is probably sensible.
It's going to just end up being a New England IPA, isn't it? At some point,
it's just the inevitable creep of all IPAs turning into New Englanders.
Yeah.
Maybe
Haze for days.
Maybe
when the climate heats up. Yeah, go on.
Brad and I are planning for. We've got a shoot day next week, which will be filming our Christmas episode, but also our big in 2024.
Oof.
And as always, the temptation is to say that New England IPA will be the next big one, and probably it will be when we start promoting new and exciting breweries. But I'm trying to find as diverse a list of breweries we're excited about as possible in terms of the styles. But yeah, New England IPA.
It's funny, isn't it? Like I'm pretty glad that it didn't happen over here, but like the hard seltzer thing that was massive in America. Never really happened over here.
Well, I wrote several articles about this because when I was writing for Good Beer Hunting, I sadly don't have time anymore, but they were asking me to do hard seltzer articles because they were just of the opinion that it's going to happen, and anybody that says it isn't going to happen in the UK is wrong, because that's what we all said in America. And I kind of kept saying to them, I was like, we already have RTDs, like ready to drinks. That's not really been a thing over there because there's lots of alcohol laws about it.
You've just broken not broken a dream, because it's definitely not a dream, Johnny. But I watched a bit of content the other day with what did you just call it? A ready to drink
RTD is the industry term. For
is a WKD?
Oh yeah,
an RTD.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you ever heard of this? Because I've never heard of this. It was a drink called a blue and black, or a black and blue.
Oh no!
Which is. You buy a pint of Guinness.
No.
Drink half of it.
No.
And then you put a blue WKD in it.
Yikes!
That's someone was saying this was delicious. So I've never actually drunk any WKD, let alone the most undrinkable looking one, the blue one.
I think that's probably the most drinkable of them.
Really?
I remember the Iron Brew one was gnarly.
Fucking hell! There's an Iron Brew one.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I guess maybe you went to university just before all that kind of stuff really kicked off.
Well, I went to art school. Yeah,
were you on Smirnoff Ices?
I went to art school. I mean, I have. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely. I've got a sweet tooth. I've definitely consumed. If I've been at a house party and there's like loads of free, not free, but everyone's bought communal beers and shit. You dig down in the ice. Maybe it's a hot day and you're like, fuck, there's a Smirnoff Ice down there. I'm talking 20 years ago here. But like,
how's the not swearing on the podcast going, Brad?
Yeah, it was going well until then. I just got excited about.
You sworn like 3 times already.
No, I got excited about the idea of Smirnoff Ice for a second there. And it was, it's well known I like a shandy, and that tastes nothing like a shandy, but I do like lemon as well, so Smirnoff Ice. But yeah, blue and black or black and blue.
Do you know there is a video? I hesitate to say this because I'm worried somebody will steal the idea because it would definitely do well. Is all the different variations, all the different cocktails of Guinness,
shandies.
Guinness. Oh yeah, shandies we've done loads of.
Yeah.
It's it's is it black velvet?
Black
and
velvet,
now black and blue. Obviously Guinness and
There's
black.
Others.
There's loads and loads of them, and we could probably do a video where we tried them all out. Maybe use a small, and maybe once Anspatch and Hobday finally release the cans of their
Nitro
they're
cans.
black. We could do it with that
Yeah.
to be a little bit more crafty.
Or we get Guinness to do a bit of sponsor content. That'd be nice.
Pay for us to
Pay
ruin
us
your
some
beer
longer.
over and
Yeah,
over
yeah,
and
yeah.
over and over.
But in the best possible ways.
Do you know? I don't. That was not a question that came up when I visited. Whether because they would. I was talking to them about all the because there's so much content that's made externally of Guinness that is just in love with Guinness and is supporting it. And I said to them like, what's that like to manage? Because although these people love Guinness, a lot of them are putting out misinformation and stuff. And they were like, it's a challenge, and sometimes they reach out to people and let them know either they love it or that something's wrong. But generally, they just sort of let it proliferate, and it's done wonders for them. So they're fine with the content being made, but I don't know how they feel about Guinness being messed with.
Interesting.
They're a brewery that take their brand, their liquid exceptionally seriously, more seriously than any other brewery I know. The amount of effort they put into the tech and ensuring everybody's pouring it right. It's up there with Budvar and PU and those people that understand the importance of it. I mean, it's probably beyond that even. But yeah, maybe if I go again, I'll ask them. I'll give them a Guinness and Black without telling them and see how they react.
Yeah. Well, we got to try. We got to try a blue and black. I think that's a good idea for video, Johnny. All the Guinness,
the Guinness variants, non-official
for
Guinness
sure.
variants, I should say.
Yeah.
Definitely not Guinness approved.
Pimp my Guinness.
Yeah.
Sort of vibe.
Yeah.
I had a terrible pint of Guinness this week, Johnny.
Oh,
terrible.
Dear. What was wrong with it?
He did a teapot pour, but then he poured it almost all the way up to the top of the glass.
Oh.
So I had basically fucking no head. Sorry, I swore again. Damn. Shit balls, bollocks. Yeah, so it had basically no head, and it was in a horrendous pub in the Square Mile. We'd just been to my girlfriend Kirsty's mum's 70th birthday high tea at Fortnum and Mason, but it wasn't the Fortnum and Mason around by Piccadilly.
Oh.
They've got one at the Royal Exchange.
Yeah, they
which
do.
I never knew.
That's where they have the Fortnum and Mason Awards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty amazing. It was really, really beautiful
Yeah, it's cool.
venue. But we totally... so we were around there, basically. We came out at, leaving time at work. And the streets were just mobbed with thousands of city boys. And we tried to take refuge in a pub within the Square Mile. And it was horrendous. The beer was horrendous. It was so ridiculously busy. It was painful.
You've got to cross the bridge. You've got to go to London Bridge to find a good pint.
I know, man. This is what I was telling her we needed to keep moving, but anyway, I won't go into it. But basically, we're with older people that can keep going.
It's a long bridge, to be fair.
It is.
I used to walk over every day. It's a long old bridge.
Yeah. But go on.
Well,
Fortnum Mason, Johnny picked up some nice treats for us.
Yeah,
for
I
next
saw that.
week's
I'm excited
video.
about that. I still got some treats as well because when I won the award last year, they gave me a whole hamper of stuff that I've just never got
Did
around
they?
to trying. Maybe I should dig some of those out.
I don't think you showed me the hamper. You showed me the award, which was like a wicker.
It's a wicker wine cooler.
Wicker wine cooler, which I quite liked.
3D printed.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I've got like a tin of hot chocolate, right? That I googled it. I googled it. I went onto the Fortnum and Mason website. I want to see how much my hamper was worth. I'm not going to beat about the bush. And the hot chocolate was 20 quid.
No way.
Yeah,
that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
20 quid.
so every time I have
Jesus.
a hot chocolate, it could be costing me. It's a bit like that coffee in in Stockholm. It's like, oh my god, this is
Yeah,
£4 a cup.
that is wild.
I haven't even had it yet.
I-
Maybe I'll have a cup of cocoa on the live show.
Last year, Johnny, talking about expensive hot chocolate, I think it was last year, might have been the year before, I bought my sister the Hotel Chocolat velvetizer machine. Are you aware of this thing? You seen it?
I know that they sell like velvetized hot chocolate in
It's
Hotel
sick.
Chocolat. I've seen it.
It's sick. It is ridiculous how good it tastes. It's like a weird little. You just put your. It like heat. I think it heats the milk up, or you put hot milk in it. I can't quite remember. It's got some sort of gyroscopic-y thing that spins it around, and it velvetizes. It foams it up, but it also melts the chocolatey chunks of chocolate essentially, and it makes an incredible hot chocolate, Johnny. But I don't know. how often you'd be asked to use it because it's very labor intensive. But it is good.
Well,
I do enjoy
that's
a
what
good
Christmas
hot
is
chocolate.
all about. It's breaking out the thing that's
Treating
a massive
yourself.
faff.
Yeah.
But
Big
you've
time.
got some friends over. It's worth it. So yeah.
And it only does enough for one as well, which I think's like.
Oh man,
It's like,
that's brutal.
do you want a velvetizer? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And then it's like, okay, cool. Do you want a velvetizer? Yeah, cool. So like
Suddenly
4
you're doing a
people
round
want
of
a
velvetizers.
velvetizer,
Yeah.
and you're there for like an hour trying to bang out some velvetizers, man.
Come on, Hotel
They
Chocolat. You need an industrial unit.
They do.
They need like four
industrial velvetizer.
4 velvetizers.
We've gone from velvety Guinnesses to velvety.
I was
hot
I was
chocolates, Johnny.
literally just thinking, A, could you add a spoonful of hot chocolate to a Guinness?
Come on.
And B, could you
Come on.
velvetize Guinness? But I'm assuming it would just all turn to either very flat Guinness or head.
It'd foam up massively,
Yeah.
I reckon, and then go flat.
Yeah.
Really flat, like the flattest thing ever.
Still, maybe you should get the velvetizer around your house and
Yeah,
give it a go.
ruin it with Guinness. Break the velvetizer with Guinness.
Flat Guinness, broken toy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We're a beer podcast. You said codcast.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that's a fishing podcast
Codcast.
by now. So obviously there was no video this week. It was supposed to be my book deadline. It will come as no surprise probably to anyone that I had to ask for an extension. And that extension thankfully was granted. God love you, my publisher.
What are they gonna? I mean, if they didn't grant it, Johnny, what are they gonna do? Send around the guys with shotguns to take you out? Like,
Well, I'm not
they're
sure whether
definitely
they've
gonna
got
grant it.
armed militia at Atlantic Publishing.
That's what I'm saying. Atlantic Publishing, they ain't got no teeth, man. Of course they're gonna grant you.
Yeah. I mean, they
They're gonna
build
grant you.
in basically they build in buffer, but the longer you can give them to edit and make it pretty, and the more time you can have obviously on the marketing and the cover.
Have you put in any controversial stuff? I've seen in the news this week. Some Wally has written a book about royal family, and it's the Dutch version has put in names.
Oh, they've named
that were
the
omitted.
supposed
Yeah,
racist.
yeah, racist. So probably all of them, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was good. When the names when he said he was naming them, I just assumed they all thought it, and only 2 of them said it.
Yeah, I saw the guy on TV. He looks really young. The guy that's written the book.
Oh, I haven't seen
So,
the guy.
I don't know what his connection is to royal family, if there is any. I was
Maybe
like,
that's
can
controversy.
anyone-
He's just made it up.
Maybe anyone can just. Oh yeah, I was like, how does he know this?
Is he
And, like,
Dutch?
He's not Dutch, and he basically what I saw him say. I'm not someone who consumes a lot of news and trash or whatever, but I'm not saying news is trash. I'm just saying mainstream,
Like gossip
a lot of it
news.
is- yeah, gossipy shite.
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought. Johnny.
Have you?
What was I going to say?
I think you're probably going to say
God.
that you don't watch a lot of this, but this has been, I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
so big it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
cut through into
No,
your
yeah,
sphere.
it exactly. It came through, and I saw the guy, and he's got like one of those. You see, young people walking around with that haircut where the sides are sort of shaved, and then it's like curly on top. Do you know
Oh,
what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
I was like, I thought that you had to be like 17 years old to rock that haircut.
Maybe he is.
I was like, how has he written this book about royal?
He's a
what's
child
this- I don't know.
prodigy of made-up royal
Yeah.
gossip.
But he took absolutely no responsibility for it. He was like, it's a Dutch one. He's like, I didn't write the Dutch one. Like,
Huh?
I mean, they would have translated what you wrote, buddy. So you definitely did write the Dutch one. So I couldn't quite work out what his point
Wait.
was.
So
He
his
was-
response to the possible lawsuit is sue the translator.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
Man,
yeah, that was it.
Some
I
poor
was like-
translator sat at home going, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. Oh, he's going. Pass me the smokes, and I need some pancakes stat
Just
because he's gonna have a bad time.
helped a bit of xenophobia there for you folks.
Was that xenophobe? I suppose it is. It probably was. I didn't mean it. I love Dutch people. I love pancakes,
Love
and
Amsterdam.
I've been known to love a.
You're trying to
I won't
rescue
go
yourself,
there.
and all we can come up with is, I
Yeah.
love Dutch people, I love pancakes. It's,
Yeah,
it's not a
pretty
defence.
much. Moving swiftly on,
Yeah.
Johnny.
So yeah, I was
Moving
trying to say
swiftly on.
before you managed to bring it to the royal family, as always,
Oh yeah.
is that
Big royal
no
me.
no videos this week, and no video next week either.
No,
But we do
live
have-
show soon though.
We do have a giant video coming your way,
Big time.
which I think I hinted at, and I said, was it in the last podcast? I said, you guys guess, it's got to come out on the 12th.
Oh yeah.
We had, I'm going to say maybe 2 answers, both wrong. It is our feature on St Bernardus Brewery.
Yeah, man. Oh, we're telling everyone now.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
we're telling
cool.
them. We're telling them because
Right,
they
yeah,
need
yeah,
something
yeah.
to hold on
St.
to,
Bernardus
Bradley,
Day.
because we keep missing our
Yeah,
uploads.
exactly.
So that's coming out on the 12th because the 12th of December is St Bernardus 12 Day, or Abbot
Yeah, it's
12
great.
Day, as they call it.
Nice.
So we're going to release it for that. We obviously talk about Abbot 12 quite a bit in the video. So we're going to upload on a Tuesday, weirdly enough.
Oh yeah.
And release
'Cause
that,
it's the
and then
12th.
we exactly. Brad's clocked it.
I'm on it.
And then we will have the next week. We'll have our Christmas recorded video, and obviously that week is our Christmas live show. So you're going to get 3 videos in very short succession to make up for the 2 weeks that we're missing now. And hopefully by that time I'll have also finished the book, and I won't be the shadow of a human I have been for the last sort of 2 weeks. I think I've held it together on the podcast, but obviously fallen apart completely in terms of uploads.
Yeah, no, you've held it together well, mate. I think you've had a lot on your plate with the book, the family, with the award ceremony, all sorts of stuff going on.
It's been
Johnny Towers.
it's been busy at Johnny Towers. But I have still found time, because I thought, the bulk of this podcast is generally, well, no, it's mostly your monologues, but it's also us looking through the comments. And so we have actually, despite missing quite a few uploads of late, been doing very well views-wise due to that video going viral and it sort of then disseminating people to lots of other videos we've made. So we've had comments on all kinds of our videos recently. And I've got a couple that I thought we could have a chat about.
Go on then.
So I've got Suwir Wong.
Yes.
Says, can anyone answer this question? How on earth IPA turn from the best way to preserve beer to become the easiest beer to oxidize? What did we do wrong?
Huh.
Do you want to have a bash at that?
How it became the easiest thing to oxidize?
Well, so Suwir Wong's point is that IPA's origins is in trying to make beer last the journey to India.
Last a long journey.
So why is it now that beer geeks are like, oh, that's 6 weeks old, just drain pour it, it's dead?
It's a good point. Is that, I mean, have we become more obsessed with the freshest, juiciest stuff? Or is it because we're putting more hops in at different points of the brew?
These are all great answers.
I mean, there's lots of different reasons about that, I would say. I mean, certainly from our big IPA deep dive back into the past of IPA, it was quite a different beer to what we drink today, and would have probably had infections in it and all sorts of stuff going on.
So I had 3 answers, and in that last bit you finally hit the last one on the head.
Yeah, okay.
So my answer, which was long-winded, and they've not replied or liked the reply. That's fine. One is that the re-fermentation with Brett that would have happened on that journey would have protected the beer from some of the oxidation. 2 is the outsized effect on modern high aroma hops, especially when added like as a cold dry hop and in crazy quantities. That oxidizes much faster and is much more noticeable. And that's obviously not what they were doing way back in the 17th and 18th century. And then equally, they would have been embracing oxidation, They'd have been looking to control it so that it was adding, a little bit of sherry character, but not acetic or anything like that. They were desperately trying to avoid that. And so, they designed these recipes around the idea that they all end up tasting that way. So it's essentially, this is why we had a lot of comments on. So this comment, sorry, was on our documentary, The Time Is Now. There's also a lot of comments on that video that say, what we drink today isn't really IPA. And you're kind of right. There's a lineage there in the recipes have sort of changed over 2 centuries. But it's a bit like, what's that famous, Only Fools and Horses? Is it Trigger's Broom? Where it's like, I've had this broom for 50 years and it's had 3 new handles and 5 new brushes. It's kind of a bit like that. It's still IPA, but everything about it has been slowly morphed.
It's changed. Should we come out, Johnny, with an IPA rather than having a sort of thing where people are like, oh, it's 6 weeks old, it's too old. One that you'd want to drink when it gets older, when it's oxidized, when the Brett's kicked in. Do we do like a long way round? Can we call it like long way round?
There are breweries making those beers. First one that comes to mind is Epochal up in Scotland, who make, I would say, quite challenging beer. Very, very heavily Bretty. Wow. And also very, very bitter. Like they've gone all in on the history and indeed the flavours. So it's very exciting and interesting. It's not something I'd reach for that often yet, but they might be refining those recipes.
It's like an album that's very challenging, but you're like, it's good, but it's hard to listen to.
Yeah. It's like the first time people listened to Kid A and they were like, "Huh?" And now we look back on it and we go, "Wow, that was you're pretty good, Radiohead."
You're all right. Yeah. You're all right. Although apparently, Johnny, not to derail massively, but apparently now it's very trendy to say you don't like Radiohead.
Oh, of course it is.
Lots of younger generations don't like Radiohead.
It was when I was at uni.
Really?
Yeah. You were pretty uncool if you liked Radiohead by 2005.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think they're great. I mean, I don't listen to them much anymore, but they're definitely amazing.
OK Computer is one of my top 5 albums. I listen to it all the time.
I had it on mini disc, mate. Well, actually, I recorded it. If I had it on we talked about
mini disc is our new. It's like Morris Dancing was.
Yeah.
Now it's mini disc.
I really wish I had it on mini disc. I didn't have it on mini disc. I recorded it from my my CDs to mini disc. But I got really down a wormhole the other day of I found this Instagram account which is amazing. It's like someone in South America who collects every different version of every Radiohead release ever on every different format that's ever been made. It's incredible.
He's fun to go to the pub with.
Dude, they're ridiculous formats. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. And they're all beautiful artworks, all like Stanley Donwood, like incredible stuff. He's been with them for so long, doing all the beautiful stuff. But yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it's sick. And when I was down that, I think maybe what drove me down that wormhole was I've got like a fair bit of Aphex Twin stuff on vinyl. And I just thought I'd have a look at Aphex Twin vinyl just on eBay. And I've got a Chocuse double album, which is very famously Avril 14 is on there, which is like, everyone loves it. It's like a beautiful piano tune. He's classically trained pianist, Johnny. But that album, double vinyl, the version I've got, that goes for 600 quid now on eBay.
Lordy.
I was like, I've had a touch here. I don't think I'd sell it, but I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's a beautiful, big, heavy press, like giant pack that it's in, but it's still a ridiculous amount of money.
I'll be selling
but
that in a
anything on mini disc is worth a lot of money now because mini discs are cool. Apparently,
the world is
Radiohead aren't cool. Mini discs are cool.
I was actually thinking about. I was writing about Radiohead for my book this week.
Were you?
Just because
cool.
So I'm writing up.
That's so uncool.
I know, so uncool. Finishing the chapter that involves Guinness. And so the Guinness chapter is all about. There's a little bit about the history in the beer, but it's mostly about the heyday of Guinness advertising in that like late 90s bloom of you got the Surfer, Swim Black, Anticipation, all these incredible iconic adverts.
Amazing.
Swim Black and the Surfer were directed by Jonathan Glazer, who was, of course, initially most famous as a music video director. Yeah. Did a lot with
Street
Radiohead.
Spirit, Fade Out.
Street Spirit, yeah. He also did the Jamiroquai Virtual Insanity, which I didn't know.
He did.
Didn't realise that.
The Moving Room.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's genius. Yeah.
So
definitely.
I've been writing about him a little bit this week.
Cool.
Because I'm behind the times.
One of my all-time favourite TV programmes that was ever on TV was called Mirrorball. I can't find it anywhere. It's called Mirrorball, and it was it just focused in every episode, focused in on a different visionary music video director. Right. And it had incredible people. I'm not sure if it had Jonathan Glazer, but it had people like Chris Cunningham, who worked with Aphex Twin, and Bjork and others. Michel Gondry, who's gone on to direct movies and stuff, worked with the White Stripes and all sorts of people. It was just an incredible bit of TV, but I can't really find it.
When was it made? It sounds like a 90s TV show.
It was early 2000s.
early
I think
2000s?
it was when there was 4 Later was a thing.
Yeah.
So that used to be late night programming, and it had incredible stuff on it.
Yeah, you just
but
don't
yeah,
get
it
that
made
anymore.
me. No, it made
They
me
don't
want
make them
to
like
be.
they used to.
I don't make them like I used to be. It made me want to be a music video director when I was at art school. So I did that briefly. I directed a couple of music videos.
That would have been a terrible career choice, given where music videos have gone.
Dude, I don't know about that. Some of my colleagues, I call them colleagues, but some of my peers, I guess, who were in the same AV sort of class as me, they've directed music videos for, what's his name? Something Malik, the dude from like One Direction.
I've got no clue.
Zayn Malik. That's
Malik.
it. Zayn.
So they still make music videos.
Yeah.
I thought the bottom had fallen out of that industry.
Idea. No, man, they're like huge. You can only for like big artists you can make
the ones that actually have
wonder.
budget, have been undercut by Spotify. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But, go on. Music, beer,
We've
great stuff, Johnny.
We've covered it all. We've covered it all this week. Did I have any other comments I wanted to go through? I got a great one on the expert blind judges bad lagers. Corona can't be properly judged as a beer. It's supposed to be served with lime.
Oh,
I don't even know where to start with that one, so I just had to leave it.
Yeah.
Then there was Thomas Sally 8870, who said, "I don't think lemon flavors have anything to do with lagers. I am sorry." So I then went off on one explaining geraniol and myrcene. This is what I do when I have writer's block. And also lactic acid bacteria, which is often used to treat the pH of lagers, and how it can all come together to present these lemon-like flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realised that the veil came off. He said, beer used to be beer, and only now these kids, not real beer drinkers, are coming up with these flavoured beers. I find it very unmanly.
Oh, right.
So I was like, okay, you're one of those. And then literally the same day, somebody, which I think we've talked about on the podcast before, there's this weird thing that goes about, I presume, with incels and such, 4chan, that beer contains estrogen, and if you drink too much of it, you'll as a man you'll get boobs.
Right. Yeah.
So I was sent a lot of faux science by Lost Love. About right. 3392.
Is that the name? Is that why you've assumed they're an incel?
Well, also that, because he then started talking about that I was at risk of low T, which I had to Google. Apparently that's
What's
low
that?
testosterone.
What? What's he on about? Who's this? What? Why has he got in on you? I don't understand. Why?
This happens all the time. This
lemon
phytoestrogens, which are found in hops, they are there. But they are in such low quantities that they have zero impact on you drinking beer. Mm-hmm. There are documented cases of hop farmers, like the ones actually harvesting. It has messed with the menstrual cycles of women who are harvesting hops. But there's no other, as far as I'm aware, no other science pointing to the idea that drinking beer could cause you to produce, because all men produce estrogen to some degree anyway, I think, but could produce enough to have any kind of physiological effect. But in some forums on the internet, this is a great big scandal that, I don't know, Big Pharma or Big Beer or somebody doesn't want you to know that you could get low T.
Low T.
Low
Interesting.
T.
Wow.
To me, that's just what happens in between cups of tea.
Yeah, I'm low on tea. Give me some more cups of tea. It's interesting, isn't it? When you go down these wormholes, we meet all sorts of trolls.
Yeah, but your wormholes are fun. Mine are dark and bleak and slightly distressing. You end up with some dude who loves Radiohead, and that's fine.
Yeah. I had a real life wormhole yesterday. I'm not going to derail for too long, but I won't go into it too much. But I went to get my tyres changed on my Lupo because we drove the crap out of them when we were in Belgium, burned some rubber. So I needed to get some.
It was hot. It was hot, to be fair. We possibly
some new wheels, some new tyres, not new wheels, new tyres, and a wheel alignment And I drove to Surrey because it had good reviews. I don't live in Surrey. I live in fucking Lewisham. Anyway, I thought it was a good idea, Johnny. They do a wheel alignment at the same place. So I thought I'll go there. The guy told me to come early, which I assume meant he was ready to go. I was sat there for 2.5 hours waiting for him to change some tyres. 2.5 hours. Freezing. No.
And how long did you have to drive
heating.
for?
45 minutes each way. It basically just imploded my day yesterday getting these.
I'm not gonna lie, I just go to Quick
changed.
Fit and they're fine.
Quick Fit are cowboys, mate. I hate Quick Fit. Shout out to Quick Fit. Hate you guys.
Yeah, but how many times do you have issues with your car, and how many times do I?
I got old cars, man. I don't have that many issues with old. They're pretty reliable.
Brad, they are not reliable.
They're pretty reliable.
You do not have reliable car.
Come on, Johnny. They're more reliable than my vintage car.
I think even people listening to this podcast know that you don't have reliable cars.
Come on. I'm about to drive to Margate in the snow, man. Got my new tyres ready to go. But anyway, my whole point of this was, he was like, oh, you're in Lewisham. I was like, yeah. He said, oh, I used to live in New Cross and Peckham in the 80s. I was like, okay, cool. Wormhole later, like 20 minutes freezing my balls off later. He was saying, oh, I remember going to a pub, I won't name it, in Peckham in the 80s. I was like, oh, yeah, cool. He was like, yeah, there was a guy leaning against the bar. And I thought, oh, I know what's coming. He's going to say it's like Del Boy when he falls through the bar in Peckham. But he was like, he just had his jacket open just enough to let me see that he had a gun tucked into his pants.
Okay.
I was like, wow, Peckham ain't like that anymore. This place he was talking about is like super gentrified now. So that's a little wormhole from Brad's life this week. Shooters in Peckham. Tyres in Surrey. And
Radiohead in South America.
Radiohead in South America. Oh,
there you go.
That's the top one. Radiohead in South America.
We're a beer podcast.
Blues and blacks, mate. I'm off for some blues and blacks.
The guy
that was talking about it was like, you want to make sure you order a pint so that the barman doesn't know the shame you're about to commit.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, he said you're a brave person if you ask him to put half a pint in a pint glass and ask for a WKD blue at the same time, because he's going to know what you're up to. But yeah,
is he though? I'm not sure you'd make that connection. You'd be like, that's a weird request. He's not going to mix those two because that's insane.
Presumably, it is insane. Presumably, you're not allowed to serve someone half a pint in a pint glass either, because hasn't got a measure on it for a half a pint, right?
No, what they do is they'd get a half pint glass. But you couldn't really do that with Guinness because that would ruin the surge. Yeah, that's what they do with any other liquid. But yeah,
conundrums. With the blue and black.
Conundrums for another time. Right, that's all we've got time for today. There is no upload next week, but there is a party on Friday from 7 at Hackney Wicks. Beautiful, the Beer Merchant's Tap. Lots of delicious pastry stouts. There'll also be great lager there, great Belgian beer because they're importers of German and Belgian beer. And we're going to have a gay old time, celebrate Christmas, say thanks to everybody, and then regret it the next day. And if the link isn't live on this podcast for the drink along box, it will be very, very soon all over social and Patreon. Otherwise, Godspeed for Brad's new tyres in his totally reliable car. And I hope when we speak next week, I will have finished this damn book. Love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's Craft Beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the Craft Beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food, and homebrewing. Love and beer.